The 9 keys to a great sex life in a long-term relationship. As a sex therapist, I've had the privilege of peeking into many lives and relationships to see what makes sex thrive over time and what can lead to frustration and dissatisfaction. So today, I'm going to be sharing the 9 keys to maintaining a fulfilling and long-lasting sexual connection in your relationship. Hey there, I'm Lauren Consul, a licensed psychotherapist and certified sex therapist here to help you have more satisfying and secure sex and relationships. Let's get into the 9 keys to a great long-term sex life. Number 1, being comfortable talking about sex. Talking about sex is often one of the most difficult things for couples to do. Even in the best of relationships, sex is complicated for lots of reasons. But if you're not talking about sex, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. As you move forward in your relationship, things evolve, bodies change, health changes, your sexual needs and desires change. And if you aren't communicating about these things, you are more likely to end up with an unsatisfying sex life. And not communicating about sex also means that you're missing out on fully knowing your partner and being known yourself in this incredibly intimate way. Partners who maintain satisfying sex lives can openly discuss their desires, fantasies, insecurities, and worries about sex. They also listen to each other without judgment and engage in collaborative discussions around sex to find ways to honor both partners' wants and desires. Number 2, have a broad definition of sex. For many heterosexual couples, sex is often reduced to penetrative intercourse, but that's a super limiting definition that can lead to unnecessary pressure or feelings of failure if intercourse doesn't happen. And you can miss out on so many pleasurable experiences if you define sex too narrowly. And when partners adopt a broad definition of sex, it can include anything from intimate touching, oral sex, mutual masturbation, or even just sharing an erotic moment. Some encounters might involve penetration and some won't, and partners with a good, healthy, long-lasting sex life understand that that's not only okay, but desirable. Number 3, foreplay is an ongoing energy, and this is a hill I will die on because foreplay isn't just a 10-minute buildup before sex. It's an ongoing energy that starts the moment your last sexual experience ends. Think of it as keeping a pot of water simmering on the stove rather than waiting for it to go from cold to boiling every time you want to engage sexually. You want to keep that pot of water simmering, so when you're ready to have sex, it's much easier to get into it. Now, this doesn't mean you're constantly in a state of arousal, but it does mean keeping a low-level erotic connection with your partner. This requires trust that not every flirty touch or comment has to lead to sex, but it's about keeping this energy going, and that trust also helps. It helps maintain intimacy, allowing both partners to feel desired without the pressure of always delivering on it. The number 4 key is practicing presence. Partners who have good, long-lasting sex lives are generally fully present during most of their sexual encounters. We can't always get it 100%, but it's really about being present. And being present doesn't just mean physically showing up. It means mentally and emotionally engaging in the experience. It's about being attuned to the sensations, emotions, and connection with your partner and with yourself. And when your mind wanders to your to-do list or what's for dinner, you gently guide it back to the moment. Presence is really key in a deeper connection and satisfaction because it really helps you experience more and connect deeper with your partner in those moments. Number 5, don't put orgasm on a pedestal. Orgasms are amazing, do not get me wrong, but they're not the only marker of a successful sexual experience. Partners with fulfilling sex lives know that sometimes there's an orgasm and sometimes there isn't, and that's totally okay. They're not focused on reaching the finish line, but instead focus on savoring the journey. Now, I often get asked, well, if orgasm isn't the goal, how do you know when sex is over? And this question can really reveal a disconnect between partners. If the only cue for stopping sex is an orgasm, it might mean that you and or your partner or both of you are checking out mentally or rushing just to finish to show that, okay, we're done here. Yet there are so many ways to signal that sex is complete without relying on an orgasm. And if you're fully present, those moments are easier to recognize and communicate with each other. Number 6, set the stage for sex. Sex is not just something on the to-do list that needs to be checked off. Now, that doesn't mean that every encounter needs to be extravagant. Sometimes lazy sex is really wonderful and maybe all that you can muster, and that's totally okay. It's about more often than not being intentional with sex. It's signaling to each other that this is an important aspect of the relationship and that you're making time to honor the value of sex in it. How you set the stage will be different for everyone. It might mean creating a certain mood or setting, initiating in a certain way, or whatever else signals to your partner that this is meaningful and intentional. Number 7, stay curious. I would argue this is actually one of the most important elements in all relationship dynamics, including your sex life. Partners that maintain great sex lives are continuously curious about their partners and themselves. Even when they've been together for years, there's always something new to learn about your partner because we are constantly evolving. So this is about staying open to discovering what your partner likes, what turns them on, and how their desires might evolve over time is really important. So asking questions, spending time exploring each other's answers, and sharing your own thoughts and feelings, which is going to require some internal reflection as well. Number 8, having a good balance of security and novelty. Now, relationships thrive when there's a balance between the comfort of security and the thrill of novelty. Too much familiarity can make things stale, but too much newness can make partners feel unsafe or overwhelmed. Great relationships are able to figure out how to maintain the balance by understanding what makes each partner feel secure and finding ways to introduce new experiences to keep the excitement alive. They also check in and communicate about how each of them are feeling on this balance and noting when it's out of balance and work to get it back in balance. Number 9, maintain a sexual relationship with yourself. To share your sexual self with your partner, you need to know yourself first. This means exploring your own desires, fantasies, and pleasures. It's about reflecting on what you enjoy, what turns you on and off, and why. This self-awareness really makes it easier to communicate with your partner, leading to a deeper connection. Those are the 9 keys to a long-lasting, wonderful sex life. Now, remember, great sex doesn't just happen. It's something you cultivate and tend to throughout your relationship. Now, I hope these tips help you in creating a fulfilling and lasting sexual connection with your partner. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and check out my upcoming videos to help you have more satisfying and secure sex and relationships.